Sometimes you just want a simple little puzzle to distract you, something that you could sit down on the table with and mess around with for 10 or 15 minutes and then go about your day without being on your phone or on a screen or something like that. Lately, the game that I've been playing in order to provide me with that little distraction is My City Roll and Build, a nice little pint-sized game that is a fantastic way to just kill 10 or 15 minutes here or there, burn your brain a little bit, and then move on with your day. My City Roll and Build is a lightweight variation on My City, the lightweight legacy game by the good Dr. Reiner Knizia. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. This is a fantastic sort of head-to-head puzzle game where you're placing little Tetramino tiles down in order to build cities and generate win points and hopefully get ahead of your competitors over the course of this 24-game, 8-chapter campaign. So My City Roll and Build is a roll and write version of that game. If you haven't heard the term roll and write before, don't worry, you know the genre. Yahtzee is the most famous roll and write there is. Roll and writes are very simple. You chuck some dice, you write down some results, you try to win. That's a roll and write. This game was designed by Dr. Reiner Knizia. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing the name, but he is a beloved German game designer who has designed hundreds of games, including The Quest for El Dorado, Lost Cities, Indigo, the Lord of the Rings adventure game, and tons more. Chances are, if you've been in board gaming for some time during the modern years, you've probably played at least one of his games. This guy is a master. And being that it's one of his designs, that means the rules for My City Roll and Build are very, very easy to learn, but difficult to master. There's a lot of room for strategizing, for puzzling things out, for frustrating yourself, and for feeling the elation of making a fantastic choice, all with a very simple, elegant rule system that you're going to pick up like that. So this tiny little box, being a tiny little box, doesn't come with much in it, and it doesn't need much in it. There's a little tiny construction pamphlet with scoring on the back. There's one giant notepad, which I've split up into 4 notepads to represent the 4 chapters of the game, because just like the full-size My City, this is actually is it a legacy game? No, it kind of has maybe a mini campaign, maybe that's the way to phrase it, and 3 specialized dice that dictate how everything works. And that's it. What you need to do is get yourself a pen or a pencil, and you're all set to go, which is kind of obvious because it's a roll and write. That's kind of how they work. You get a pen or a pencil, and you roll, and then you write. So what you're trying to do is build yourself a nice little city on these little city maps, on these little land maps that come on the pad. They're different for each episode. There are 4 chapters, 3 episodes per chapter. So in this little box, you're going to have 12 chapters altogether and an opportunity to play each chapter, I don't know, a dozen, 20-something times. I mean, there's for the $15 that this little box costs, you can play this game many, 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 many times. It's a great bargain. So what you're trying to do is build your little buildings on this little map and meet the scoring conditions that are down here. The scoring conditions might be: don't build on a forest, do build over rocky terrain, don't leave any open spaces, connect like buildings, such as connect your residential buildings all together, or connect your commercial buildings all together, and things like that. The scoring conditions change from episode to episode, so each time you play, a new layer of rules is going to get added. The very first episode is super simple, super basic, super straightforward. You're gonna play it in 2 seconds and you're gonna be done. The second one adds a little layer of complexity. The third one adds another little layer. And you get constant twists throughout the 12 episodes that you're gonna play until by the end you're dealing with bandits and you're building forts and all sorts of other semi-complex stuff that dramatically changes the way you were playing the game in the beginning. And that is one of the things that makes My City Roll and Build, as well as the main My City game, a delight, because you're constantly being challenged by new things. You constantly have these new little puzzles to figure out, and so it never gets boring. You always feel as if there's going to be something new around the corner that makes you think about the map and your approach in a different way. Now, with the main My City game, the buildings that you're building are determined by the draw of cards. You have a deck of cards, and you flip the cards over, and this tells you what tile to place down. This obviously does not have tiles. It has dice, so that works by chucking dice. It's a really simple and elegant way they did this. These specialized dice have these blocks on each side. Some sides don't have any blocks, some sides have a few, some sides have many. Some have this little symbol which comes into play during later chapters, but it doesn't apply to all chapters of the game. And then this die has either a fully blacked out building, a building with an X, or a building with little stripy things on there. You roll these 3 dice. This die determines the type of building you're going to place down, either like a solidly colored in building with some X's, or a building with some stripies. What they represent really kind of doesn't matter. All that matters is that's sort of telling you what you need to puzzle into place. And this die has these little tiny symbols on the edges that show you how to match the sides up, and this will show you the shape of the building that you need to place down. So you now have the shape of the building and how you need to color it in. Now all you have to do is figure out how to get it onto your damn map. I could try to belabor things and go into more detail, but that kind of is the whole game. You chuck 3 dice, you get your building results, you try to figure out where to place them on the building. You can see here's one of my played games that I've already played, where trying to get your buildings into place, trying to maximize your point value. By the end, by chapter 4, Bandits, you have much more complex arrangements that you're trying to do because you're dealing with building forts and encircling bandits and stuff like that. You can see there are a lot more scoring conditions that are down at the bottom. You play over the course of these 12 chapters, you record your points for each chapter, you tally them up, you compare on the back here to see how well you did. Hurrah. This game is playable with 1 to 6 players. I most often play this as a solo distraction, which is one of the reasons why I really love it. You can sit down and play this by yourself, but it also plays well with multiple players. You can play it head-to-head with people or as a group. Everything that I already said applies. You chuck the dice. Everyone tries to place their buildings as best they can. You tally up the points in the end. You declare a winner. You kick the winner out of your house because nobody should ever be defeated in their own house at a board game. That's wrong. Don't do that to people. And that's it. My City Roll and Build. It's a fun distraction. It's $15. It's an absolute bargain. It's a nice little puzzle with very easy to grasp rules, but enough to engage your brain pretty well. I dig it. I have a good time with it. I like that you can play it as a solo player, or you can play it with multiple players. Even my boy Tom here likes it. He enjoys it. So check it out, especially if you like puzzle games. It's a good time. Bye. Chef Tom.